A 19-year-old just rewrote NBA history, and the league can't ignore him.
Prior to that, excellent transition player, and so is Cooper Flagg, and those first from Cooper Flagg, the floater.
Cooper Flagg is turning the NBA upside down at 19. Historic scoring, legendary comparisons, and a future that could redefine greatness. And here's where this story really begins. When you hear NBA number one pick, names like LeBron James and Anthony Davis come to mind. Elite talents etched into history. But Cooper Flagg, he's a different kind of breakout story. Born in tiny Newport, Maine, Flagg grew up hooping in a place where most Americans have never heard of combined practice gyms and state titles. He was a standout from the jump, dominating at every level he touched. After finishing his early high school career as one of the country's top prospects, Flagg reclassified, accelerating his path to college, and landed at Duke, one of basketball's most storied programs. In just one season with the Blue Devils, he didn't just play well, he owned the stat sheet, averaging roughly 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, while doing everything from blocking shots to stealing the ball. That wasn't just good, it was historic for a freshman, and that dominance wasn't lost on NBA decision makers. Come June 2025, with the Dallas Maverick holding a number one pick, there was never much suspense. They selected Flagg first overall. At only 18 years old, still just a teen, he became the youngest number one pick in franchise history and only the second Mavericks player ever to go first overall. In front of his family in the national spotlight, Flagg walked across the draft stage and fulfilled a lifelong dream. This wasn't just a draft slot, it was a passing of the torch moment for the Dallas franchise. They gave the ball to a teenager and bet their future on a kid from Maine who plays with the confidence of a seasoned vet. And just when people thought Flagg might need time to adjust, he didn't. In his very first NBA game on October 22, 2025, Cooper stepped onto the court against the San Antonio Spurs and did something most rookies only dream about. He impacted the game immediately. He wasn't just another scorer off the bench. Flagg started as the Mavericks point guard, grabbed 10 rebounds, dropped 10 points, and even chipped in a steal in a tough 125-92 loss. For a kid who was asked to run the offense on day one, that stat line was something else. Power, poise, and presence all wrapped into one. And here's where it gets even more insane. Just a few games into the season, Flagg etched his name alongside legends. Against the Milwaukee Bucks, he put up 26 points without a single turnover, becoming only the second player in NBA history to score 20-plus points at 18 or younger with 0 turnovers, right next to Kobe Bryant. That's not a casual footnote. That is elite territory. But he didn't stop there. Flagg kept showing off that rare blend of scoring and court vision all through his early stretch. He tied LeBron James as the youngest player to score 25-plus points in a game, then went on to have 35-point nights and late-season explosions that had fans and analysts alike doing double takes. For a teenager just thrown to the fire, he wasn't overwhelmed. He was performing as if he belonged. And here's where Cooper Flagg turned from impressive rookie to historically dominant. Just weeks later, on November 29, 2025, he became the youngest player in NBA history to score 35-plus points in a game, a feat previously only achieved by LeBron James at a similar age. Flagg torched the Los Angeles Clippers for 35, mixing bully ball drives, quick pickups, and fearless finishes. To do that before turning 19, that's territory only the truly elite have ever seen. And here's where it gets even more jaw-dropping. Flagg didn't just have one big night. He went on a 30-plus point tear, becoming the only teenager in NBA history to record 3 straight games with 30-plus points. That kind of consistency at 18 and 19 years old is staggering. It shows more than talent. It shows night in, night out scoring prowess. Then came the crown jewel. Just a couple months into his NBA career, Flagg didn't just flirt with history, he crashed through it. In mid-December 2025, still 18 years old, Flagg lit up the scoreboard against the Utah Jazz with 42 points, the most ever by an NBA player under 19 in a single game. That night, he didn't just score. He attacked the paint, drew fouls, and punished defenders from every angle, fueling an overtime thriller that ended in a loss but etched his name beside legends. No LeBron, no Kobe, no Durant had hit 40-plus at that age, until Flagg did. But that was just the beginning. On January 29, 2026, Cooper Flagg exploded for...
Take him off the bounce, got around him, switch to the right hand, rolls in. Nice finish.
49 points in a game against the Charlotte Hornets, the most points ever by a teenager in an NBA game. He battled through double teams, finished with 10 rebounds and 3 assists, and single-handedly kept his team in striking distance until the final whistle. Cliff Robinson's 45-point haul from 1980, obliterated. This wasn't just a rookie record, it was one for the ages. These milestones aren't flash-in-the-pan moments. They're historic markers that thread Flagg's name into conversations of future legends. And they all happened before he even turned 20. And here's the thing that makes Cooper Flagg more than just a scorer. Most adolescent phenoms in this league set up buckets, and that's all. Points, points, points. But Flagg's game goes beyond simply scoring.
Incredible. Now here's Coop, and he's going to drive on Brandon Miller, gliding.
He's been all over the floor in his first year. For a forward his age, he's averaging astounding numbers of roughly 6.5 rebounds and more than 4 assists per game. That implies he's building plays, locating available players, and breaking the glass like an experienced forward rather than only finishing them. Defensively, he's also active, demonstrating his concentration on both ends, disrupting passing lanes, rotating, and challenging shots. Flagg is stealing more than a steal and practically a block per game. Rare in a first-year player, let alone one still under 20. That sort of two-way pledge is uncommon. And this has been continuous, not only a single explosive evening. He has poured in 30, 35, even 49 points, but he's also been chipping in rebounds, dishes, and defensive actions in games when scoring was not the main story. That flexibility counts because it turns him into a genuine basketball player, not only a shooter, not only a supporting player, but rather someone who affects the whole game. This explains why Mavericks supporters view him as the genuine centerpiece of their future. And now comes one of the juiciest parts of this whole conversation. You've probably seen the comparisons by now, and they're not just social media hot takes. Veteran NBA insider Brian Windhurst publicly compared Flagg to LeBron James, saying that in terms of how he controls the game on both ends, the only young player he reminds him of is LeBron. That's not small praise. Windhorst has been covering the league for decades and has seen every teenage phenom come through. Even fans have taken note, pointing out that in many age 18 statistical categories, Flagg ranks right up there with LeBron and other historic talents, particularly in scoring, rebounding, and steals. And then there's Kobe. Flagg joined Kobe Bryant in the rare club of 18-year-olds with a 20-point game and 0 turnovers, a sign of maturity and poise that most rookies lack early. Now, let's be honest, Flagg isn't LeBron or Kobe yet. He's got a long way to go. But when analysts and fans start putting his name next to those legends, especially before he even turns 20, it fuels this narrative that he might not just be a great rookie, he might be a next-generation superstar. And that's the conversation the NBA is starting to have. And this is where the story gets messy, because while Cooper Flagg's been putting up jaw-dropping numbers night in and night out, the Dallas Mavericks haven't exactly been rolling through the league. They've struggled mightily to win games, dropping close contests, sputtering on offense, and watching promising individual performance end in losses. In fact, at one point, the Mavericks got off to a 2-6 start, one of the worst starts Flagg has ever experienced in his basketball life. That was a shock, considering he's dominated at every level before this. Even when Flagg drops 36 points, grabs 9 boards, and dishes 6 assists, as he did in one loss to Boston, Dallas still loses. That type of output from a rookie usually lifts a team, but this one keeps finding ways to fall short. And then there's the drama with the refs. After a narrow loss to Houston, where Flagg missed a potential tying layup, Mavericks coach Jason Kidd publicly blasted the officiating and got fined $35,000 for doing it, claiming the referees mishandled a foul call on Flagg's drive to the rim. So while Flagg's numbers scream franchise star, the scoreboard still shows too many losses. It adds a layer to the narrative, a sense that Flagg is already great, but the team around him hadn't caught up yet. But not everyone's ready to anoint him as the best player in the NBA just yet, and some critics are quick to inject reality into the hype. For starters, skeptics point out that a lot of Flagg's gaudy stat lines have come on a team that just can't seem to win consistently. Dallas's offensive execution has been historically poor at times, and with so many losses, some argue his numbers are inflated simply because he's asked to do everything. There's also the debate over his role early in the season. Flagg even started games at point guard, a position he'd never played before, and that experiment didn't always go smoothly. And of course, being 19 means he's still growing. His shooting percentages and decision-making have room to improve, which is normal for someone this young. So yes, he's putting up historic numbers, but whether that makes him the best in the NBA right now is still up to debate. Cooper Flagg isn't just another rookie. He's rewriting NBA history at 19. From record performances to legendary comparisons, this season is just the beginning. Whether he becomes the league's best remains to be seen, but the world is watching. So what's your take? Drop it in the comments.